Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to talk about the top 10 reasons why Keyforge will succeed. So Keyforge is a brand new collectible card game that's coming out from FFG, created by Richard Garfield, the same guy who created Magic the Gathering. And I'm convinced now it's going to do one of two things. It's going to be a ripple for tabletop games overall, and especially for the collectible card game market, CCG market, or it's going to be a tsunami. I am predicting now it is going to be a tsunami. I think that Keyforge is going to change things in a major way. And the reason why is I was around in 1993 when Magic the Gathering launched, and I saw how Magic the Gathering changed tabletop games forever. What it did was it brought an absolute tsunami of cash into tabletop games. Wizards of the Coast made so much money off of Magic the Gathering that they bought Dungeons and Dragons as like a whim. You know, it was millions of dollars. So just to put it in perspective, Keyforge is a really big deal, and people should be very aware that it's coming. Okay, here's the top 10 reasons why Keyforge is going to succeed. Uniqueness of cards. This is brilliant. All right, so the way Keyforge works is that it has cards like any other CCG, in that it will have, an instant or a creature or a location, these different elements of the game, right? But what's different about Keyforge is that every single card in Keyforge is unique, all right? So let's say that an aspect of it might be you have a ghost creature, right? That ghost creature might find its way into thousands of the decks that are going to be printed for Keyforge. But every Keyforge deck has essentially like a banner card, and that banner card has a name. Each deck has a name. The name of the deck is printed on every single card in the deck. This is huge. This has never, ever been done in any CCG in history. Okay? There has never been a collectible card game where literally every single card, right, is unique within, there's no one else can own that card, right? So when you get your deck, that deck's going to have a name, and that name will be printed on every deck. You're guaranteed that each card that you own in that deck will never be owned by anybody else, because it's programmatically protected so that it won't be reprinted anywhere else. That's pretty incredible, okay? The other thing is the uniqueness of the decks. Fantasy Flight Games is saying that each deck will be formulated so it won't contain cards that other decks contain, that in the same configure, each deck will have a unique configuration. Again, never, ever been done. That's reason number 2. Reason number 3 is the first two things that I just talked about. Tom, the guy who has dice. Oh boy, Tom Vassell. Sorry, Tom Vassell is the #1 board game guy in the world, and I totally agree with him. He said specifically about Keyforge, this would have been impossible to print even 5 years ago. So here's number 3 why this is going to succeed. High math, high code, right? You can't even just buy good developers. You have to buy really, really good mathematicians as well to get this. That brings up number 4, an incredibly high barrier to market. Nobody could just copy this. You need to get high-end developers and high-end coders to create this. And even beyond that, nowadays, to launch a CCG well, you really need a high-end company, right? But that barrier to market is number 4 on why Keyforge is going to succeed. Why it is going to be a tsunami on the CCG market, and quite likely on the entire tabletop gaming market, okay? All right, so number 5, Richard Garfield. Richard Garfield has done this before. He has changed the shape of tabletop gaming forever. He has created the collectible card game genre, and he very well may have just created a brand new genre, which is collectible deck games, right? Which never existed before. And the other thing that's important about Richard Garfield is if you had some schmuck designer on this, somebody knew. No, but everybody could go, whatever, Suzanne Smith created this. I don't know her from Boo. Everybody knows Richard Garfield, and the press loves celebrity. So this game is going to get covered. It's already starting to get major coverage. Richard Garfield is a very, very important part of the mix in Keyforge, in that it cannot be ignored by the media, and the media will just flock to it like sharks to blood. All right. Here's I think that was number 5. Here's number 6, is the ability to track decks and deck performances. So FFG, this is massive, right? Each deck has a unique identifier, okay? They know each deck by name, and this is huge. I'm part of IT, information technology. I've been incredibly blessed to have a very, I'm going to say it fairly, I'm not crazy rich or anything, but I've had a lucrative, very nice, comfortable career in information technology. Information technology has been very good to me. And one thing I've learned is you can't do nothing without a unique identifier. And with a unique identifier, you could do virtually anything. Okay, so essentially, this is the first time that decks are being looked at from the perspective of a massive set of data, right? This isn't even possible in Magic the Gathering, because Magic the Gathering was never treated this way from the beginning. This is high math, high code applied to CCGs. And if anybody out there thinks I'm saying too much about this game, you need to pay attention, right? And the reason why is Magic the Gathering is such a unique game, right? That there are actually groups of people who adjust the market of value for cards cooperatively. That's the same thing that gets done in economic markets, right? The depth of Bitcoin, MTG Gox, right? Bitcoin was created, like Magic the Gathering is uniquely tied to the growth of Bitcoin. People who are like super into Magic the Gathering, some of them opened up Bitcoin exchanges, right? I cannot tell you how important CCGs have been to the tabletop gaming market and to of course, so Keyforge is a brand new, hugely important step in the maturation, in the evolution of the CCG market, and very well maybe the tabletop gaming market overall, right? So basically, that having a unique identifier, 6 and 7, an ability to track decks and deck performances, to ban decks in the ability to actually say this deck has won, it is being retired. That's huge. It has never been able to be done before, right? Cards have been banned, but never banned entire decks, right? It's just completely unique. Having unique identifiers for decks is number 7. Okay. The game itself is definitely being underestimated, right? So that's another reason why I really feel that Keyforge will be successful. I went to my FLGS and said, I want to pre-order this. And they said, oh yeah, we saw that was coming out, in Gen Con. Okay. You're the first person to ask about it. Right? But I'm telling you, it's definitely being underestimated. And this thing, if you can get your hands on copies of the decks, if you can get a hold of pre-orders, you should pre-order as quickly as you can. I am predicting now that the entire initial run will absolutely sell out and the decks are going to go up in value. I really believe that's what's going to happen. That's my prediction. And then also, here's my last one. MTG's vulnerability. I really feel Magic the Gathering is right now very vulnerable to be disrupted. And the reason why that is just one reason, and that reason is age, right? It is 25 years old. It's been around for a long time. I think Wizards of the Coast has done a phenomenal job of shepherding that game and doing just a wonderful job of taking care of it, growing a community, showing us what pre-releases are, showing what the model and the template is for a pro tour, all that kind of thing. But 25 years is 25 years. This game, and in today's world, that's like 2 generations. Things just happen so quickly and so fast. So here's my 10 reasons. Uniqueness of cards, uniqueness of decks, Richard Garfield, Fantasy Flight Games. Oh, that's one I didn't listen. Fantasy Flight Games itself. That is So Fantasy Flight Games itself is a really key aspect. Fantasy Flight Games is a massively successful board game company who also makes tabletop role-playing games, who also makes dice games and card games. Now, they've made living card games for a long time. That's an entirely different subject, similar to CCGs, but very its own beast, right? Fantasy Flight Games, get this, they are no longer an American company. They're owned by Asmodee now, which is a French company. Very interesting. They're powerful. They're smart. They have incredible. They have the ability to do incredible art, incredible design. They know how to make games. This is not a garage band shop, right? Like, this FFG is a veteran. They know what they're doing. Sorry, I'll start from the beginning here. Here's my 10 reasons. Uniqueness of cards, uniqueness of decks, Richard Garfield, Fantasy Flight Games itself, ability to track decks and deck performances, unique identifiers for decks, high math, high code, barrier to market against competitors, the game itself is being underestimated, and last is Magic the Gathering's vulnerability. This is my 10 reasons why I think Keyforge is going to be a success. Thank you very much. Please consider liking and subscribing. Take care.